Good morning, everybody. In order to maintain national sovereignty of NATO member states while accounting for varying state capacities to combat disinformation, we propose a NATO disinformation alert standard that values transparency. So the first thing that we did is we created the Disinformation Collaborative Task Force. This collaborative task force will be made up of NATO member state representatives, subject matter experts, and industry partners. It will be responsible for assigning a threat level to disinformation campaigns and monitoring for known indicators of disinformation. It'll be responsible for developing and updating a disinformation threat intelligence feed that can be utilized by different nation states, which will basically be a heat map tracking active disinformation attacks. It will also be responsible for assisting nation states in the decision-making process of how to respond to a disinformation campaign. Secondly, we've created the NATO Disinformation Alert Standard. This categorizes into 4 threat levels labeled 0 through 3 that can categorize how severe a disinformation campaign is. Level 0 being baseline disinformation, your standard disinformation that's put onto the internet, in which NATO can be available for monitoring per state request. Threat level 1, NATO is corporate disinformation, which is intent to cause economic harm against a corporation. And NATO can be available for consolidating fact-checking reports. At threat level 2, NATO is available for addressing disinformation indicators. And that is government disinformation, which is an attack on government or otherwise government representations. And then the highest threat level is electoral disinformation, which directly undermines the democratic processes. And on that, NATO can be in charge, available for hosting a public forum to publicly discredit disinformation. When looking at the performance and sustainability, for our performance metrics, we're analyzing 3 metrics: our time to detect, time to respond, and the perceived effectiveness level as determined by member nation states. As far as sustainability is concerned, we'll be releasing an annual report to promote transparency. That will include best practices, our performance metrics, and an overview of the campaigns of disinformation and how they were combated. And lastly, for fiscal considerations, funding will come from the nation states, and the return value is the economic harm that is prevented due to disinformation campaigns. The cost of the facilities, the payment of employees, and resources for the threat intelligence feed. We believe this is a sustainable and reliable way to combat disinformation, while also preventing the proliferation of disinformation when it is typically released publicly. Even if being dealt with, it is still released publicly and spread around. Thank you all very much.